Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. And it's still Fat Bear Week, and my boy Chunk is still in the running, at least as of filming this video. So we put a link down in the description to go over there. Go and vote for Chunk. Fat Bear Week is something that the National Park Service runs for their bears, which are fattening up for winter hibernation, and I'm just super competitive, so I'd love to participate. Anyway, they don't sponsor us or anything, but all this week, in support of Fat Bear Week, we are talking about different military things that have the name bear. And today, we've got probably the most famous bear of the Cold War era, the Russian Tu-95 bomber. Why is the Tupolev 95 called the bear? Well, NATO countries can't pronounce whatever the Russian word is for it. So, they came up with some simple reporting names for all the various Soviet systems that would allow them to be able to just, like, one or two syllable knock out what it is that they're looking at. And all the NATO countries use the same names, so you're not spending a lot of time mid-combat trying to learn to pronounce Russian. So, bombers always start with the letter B. A single syllable word, like bear, means that it's a propeller-driven craft. If it was multisyllabic, like backfire, that is a jet-powered bomber. Likewise, fighters start with F, such as the famous MiG-29 Fulcrum. Helicopters, H, like the Hind. Both cargo and commercial aircraft, you guys get the picture now, right? What do you think miscellaneous aircraft start with? So, the entire family of airframes that the Tu-95 spawned, which includes a couple of different number variations and a bunch of different letters after the Tu-95, as they're modified over the years, are referred to as bears. The two main missions that the bear carries out are, it was designed for strategic bombing, and it does a lot of maritime reconnaissance. So the crew of Battleship New Jersey would have spent a fair amount of time sitting right here in CEC at the Air Search Radar Scope watching bears that were surveying their battle groups.
We had planes that fly over a Russian bomber, we call them the Bears. I actually got a picture of how close they were with the camera with the Russian bear with a star on it. I have that. So they come out and see what we're doing. I don't know if it was in their waters or what it was, but yeah, they come out and see what we were doing too. So.
Particularly when Battleship New Jersey sails into the Sea of Oshkosh late in the Cold War, one of the Soviet aircraft that shadows her would have undoubtedly been a bear at some point or another. The bear is roughly equivalent to the American B-52 Stratofortress. They were both developed in 1952, and both initially looked at using propellers, specifically turboprops, which would enable those aircraft to get the long range needed for an intercontinental bomber. They were developed to be nuclear delivery vehicles. For the B-52s, our captured German scientists were able to make a more fuel-efficient jet engine that allowed that aircraft to be a jet. The Soviet Union's captured German scientists did not do that, and so she remains a propeller plane. And fairly uniquely, her propellers counter-rotate. So she's got 4 engines, but each one has 2 propellers on the end of the hub that spin in opposite directions. Not only that, they're spinning so fast that the tips get up to the speed of sound, which makes the Bear one of the loudest aircraft of all times. Somewhere around 500 Bears and other versions of and variants of that airframe were built. At least 50 of the true Bears remain today, and another 22 of the Tu-142, which was specifically made as an anti-submarine warfare platform on the same airframe as the Bear. So somewhere between 70 and 80 of these are still in operation. Despite first flying in 1952 and entering wide-scale production in 1956, the first time the Bear actually saw combat was not until 2015. What in the world is a ubiquitous, yet still large and slow propeller-driven plane doing getting into combat in 2015? Well, In spaces like Syria, where it does first get involved in combat, there isn't a serious threat of enemy fighter planes coming up to shoot her down. The Bear does have two 23mm guns in its in the stinger position at the back of the plane, but otherwise very little in the way of defensive armament. Because of its low speed, it can't get close to a target. But that's okay, because Russia has developed a series of standoff munitions such as the KH-55 and its variants such as the KH-101. If you watch the news, you hear about these missiles being used in Ukraine a lot, and some of those almost certainly are being delivered by Bears. The Bears can get up high, about 45,000 feet, and they can basically stay over the Black Sea or over Russian airspace and just fire their missiles off into Ukraine. That keeps this aged airframe relatively safe, except from drone strikes when they're on the ground. The truly remarkable feature of the Bear is it has a range of 8,000 nautical miles or more, unrefueled, which far exceeds Cold War estimates. Another standout feature of this airframe is its ability to carry 33,000 pounds of ordnance. Its speed is 575 miles per hour, about 650 knots, which is pretty outstanding for a propeller-driven plane of that size, but not much when you compare it to other jet aircraft of the day. This plane's outstanding feature really is its range, not its speed. While the maritime variant, the Tu-142, has a crew of up to 11, the standard Bear usually flies with 6. A pilot, a co-pilot, an engineer, a comms operator, a navigator, and a gunner.
Nope, I do remember a Russian Bear bomber flying overhead when we were getting ready to come online the first time, and I remember to this day because I saw the great big red star on the side of that plane. And about a few seconds later, here comes the Navy fighters making sure that they didn't get too much closer, because I saw 2 Navy fighters come out of wherever and tell him, okay, it's time to leave.
So, did this Bear pose a real threat to an Iowa-class battleship and its battleship battle group? Yes. The Iowas have nothing that could engage a Bear. If the Bear got close enough, sure, we could shoot it down, but with standoff munitions, it doesn't have to. And a massed Bear strike, launching long-range cruise missiles, could easily oversaturate the air defenses of a battleship battle group. And while those missiles probably wouldn't sink an Iowa-class battleship unless there was just an excessive number of them that got through, they could certainly incapacitate this ship and force her to return to port for repairs. And that standoff capability is what keeps this 70-year-old airframe relevant today. So, what Bear are you voting for in Fat Bear Week? Better not be 747. That is Chunk's arch nemesis. Let us know in the comment section down below. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. We really appreciate your support. There's a link in the description below for more ways you can donate to support the museum. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find about us and our channel. Thanks for watching.